Good afternoon, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Let's talk football, people. What's up? Welcome in. This is the Let's Talk Fantasy Football Show, brought to you by Let's Talk Football. I am Mr. First Place in the LTF Fantasy, and this is my lovely wife, and that is second place over there.
Keep cherry picking your stats, brother. Keep cherry picking. I told you weeks ago I was coming for you, and here I am, knocking on the door.
Who is
knocking
first?
on it?
I am number one. Anyway,
I was actually real sad when I went through last week's show. You guys, you did kind of get into the LTF league. Ash actually brought up at one point that I get why David wanted to talk about this league because he's doing so good, and that was not the truth. I actually wanted to highlight all the people that are in that league. This year was a special year for the LTF crew because we made friends. You know, the NSD crew, North Sports Dynasty, Andrew Faubert, Kyle Yacey, Alex Loosemore. Those guys have been contributing over on our side. You know, Sid's been dipping his toes in over there. Sean's been over there. It's actually been a really fun time. But all those guys jumped in with the LTF crew. We've got, Nick Rosario. We got Delilah Crespo. Obviously, the three of us, along with the North Sports Dynasty crew in that league. And that's why I wanted to talk about it, Ash, because I wanted everyone to know that all of that football intelligence was in that league, and I was doing so well.
I'm pretty sure it goes LTF, 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 at least the top four. And I'm pretty sure the bottom is Andrew, Alex, Kyle.
No, we're not going to talk about Kyle this week.
Because he beat you?
Yeah.
I know I beat Andrew, so.
I will say, you got some Dynasty guys over there. You got the redraft folks over here. Dynasty is definitely not my bread and butter. It's something that I will actually have to put a lot of work into to get better at. I know Ash and I have agreed on this, and it's been fun, though. It's been fun. And, Sid spent the first half of the year reminding everybody that he was, 5-0, 6-0, 7-0. And then he wanted to talk about how he was 3-0 against me. And now all he can say is that he's first place in the league. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but the cherry picking of the stats keeps getting more and more desperate. We'll be back next week with an update on that.
First place is first place, sir.
Anyway, the Let's Talk Football League. Actually, this week in the Let's Talk Football League, who commented, hello, Dalton. Dalton is actually, you had mentioned this, and then I was telling Sydney this weekend, I was like, Dalton's like low-key really good. And yep. I'm like, I don't understand how he got all these people on his team, but I mean, his team started off slow, but that does not matter because he was the highest scorer this week. He's moving himself up. He's now in fifth. I think if he
I don't know if you remember, but a couple weeks ago, I was at your house.
Yeah.
And I told Sid that he had somebody to watch out for.
Yeah. Dalton's low-key really good because he has – Josh Jacobs is doing far better than I thought he would. Dalton was the highest scorer, and he played Zeke.
No, he's already adjusted his lineup.
He had adjusted it?
He did adjust it.
He adjusted it. Okay. He has Hopkins, Diggs, Dallas Goedert, Devontae Adams, Travis Etienne. His team's good. They started off slow, but
yeah, he's got one glaring weakness, as Sean pointed out, and it's funny because Dalton and I have actually been talking over through Messenger about that glaring weakness, and I've been trying to help him out, but when you're streaming quarterbacks, there's just no help for you. And I feel that pain over in the Jerry World League, my brother. I do.
He has Trevor Lawrence, who's quarterback number 11 right now, so that's not a terrible situation. I have had worse.
That's what he gets for drafting Aaron Rodgers every single year in every single league. And it finally caught up with him until we We don't have to talk about that, right?
How did Rodgers do this week?
I mean, Trevor Lawrence outscored him, so he should have played Trevor Lawrence over Aaron Rodgers.
I think he did.
Oh. Well, Dalton, why are you switching your lineup so early? Don't do that.
You know what? I feel like I owe the man. You know, Dalton, if you're out there, if you're still watching, you know, Sid, send the man a link. If you want to come on and gloat, we'll mute you and let you talk for 30 seconds. That's it. That's my final offer.
That's all you get.
All you get. Nothing more. I don't think this is updated. I think this is what he. Oh, no. Here it is. JK. He played Trevor Lawrence. He did. He had Dallas Goedert, who went out, though.
Yeah, in the
Yep,
fourth quarter.
that's going to hurt him.
He's doubtful, though.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
going to miss
know.
time.
What happened to him?
Shoulder.
Yeah, the
Tight
face
ends are
mask. They tried to
Muted.
rip his head
Muted.
off.
Yeah, I do remember that. Oh, 30 seconds.
All right. So that was the intro. Let's go ahead and jump into the recap, led by
Me.
the first place person's wife, Ash.
Okay. I did really good in fantasy this week. You need to leave me alone. I went 6 for 8. I lost in the Let's Talk Football League, but I won the other ones. I won one league by 1 point, and the other person didn't play a quarterback, and I still only won by 1 point. So that's really fun for me. The best thing I did, though, was I was telling this to David when he was here, I think. I rage dropped
Darren Waller.
I was at work. A notification came on my phone that Darren Waller was going to be out, and I just dropped him. Didn't look at anyone to pick up. I literally just dropped him. If you like go and look at the history, you can see I just dropped him, and then like a few hours later, I picked up Komet, which was like the greatest thing ever. So all that time I've been sitting here telling you to drop Darren Waller, you should definitely do that if you still have him. Another thing.
Yeah, I do feel bad. You know, we talked about that a couple weeks ago, and I told people we're almost there. We're almost there. Yeah, you could have dropped him then.
I hate it here. And screw whatever I have to say. We're going to invite somebody else on right now.
Give him an intro. You started it. Give him the intro.
He needs to change his name. I don't like that. I don't want to listen to it.
All right, Dalton. I have control.
The
Watch
only
this, Dalton.
thing
Ready?
that, you know what, the Eagles lost. And that's all that matters this week. The Eagles losing.
Introducing a man that is a big Green Bay Packers fan that is going to have his time to gloat, time to shine, because I have the power. I am going to mute David, and I'm going to mute us, and I'm going to let Dalton go.
What's up, David? How you doing, bud? What's up, David? How you doing, bud? What's up, David? Hold on a second. There we go. That's better. And you're muted.
No.
There we go.
No. Make him go away.
Nope.
Quit muting everybody.
I was letting Dalton have his time to shine.
He doesn't need his time to shine.
How'd the game go this week? How'd your Packers do? What was give me a little backstory?
You know what? They finally just ran the ball for once.
Sean
And then,
decided to do
Christian
that this
Watson
week.
decided to oh, yeah, I
Finally
remember
show
how to play
up.
football now.
Finally. I've been tooting that dude's horn all year. It's about time.
It's about time he showed up. And, the defense didn't too bad, missing some key guys. And Dak, came through some interceptions like he's prone to do.
That was not Dak's fault. Oh, my God, I can't.
Nothing is ever Dak's fault on this
when
show.
Schultz
No.
doesn't run the right route, when CeeDee Lamb doesn't cut. So those
He
two
sounds like
things.
Jerry Jones.
We just
Something's
need a
Dak's
sign, a glowing sign that pops up, triggered.
You know that one was Schultz's fault. And
Listen,
then I
the
saw
Packers
an
might
article
lose every
about
other game, but still beat the Cowboys.
Man, Dalton, as soon as I got over to the Swinton household, you know, it came up real quick, and I was very scared of this game. I really was. And
That's it.
exactly what I thought. I told Sid, losing to Green Bay tonight, as bad as they are, us losing this week would be the most Dallas Cowboy thing to do, and I'm scared we're going to do it. And what do you know?
Shocking.
God.
You came through for me. I appreciate it.
Depressing. And then he's the highest scorer in fantasy too. So just
Yes, talk about your
Okay.
fantasy squad.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a good weekend for me, actually.
great.
You know, we've already talked about my glaring weakness being quarterback here, and yes, drafting Aaron Rodgers finally got to me. It took long enough. But hey,
Yeah, but you know, you got to beat the Cowboys again. So
yeah,
there's that.
and then I just got to ride out D-Hop, Diggs, and Adams, and just hopefully they keep balling out, and they'll make up for
What
it.
I got a question for you. What's your plan in tight end?
Yeah, I'm still figuring that one out. Hopefully, get a couple trades in here soon.
Better get him in quick,
Okay,
sir.
this is the last week.
Yeah, I know. I sent a couple, so I'm hoping that I get a response back here soon.
Oh, I didn't get a trade request.
I didn't get any.
Me
Weird.
neither.
Yeah, it wasn't to you guys.
Yeah, I was like, me either, but I suck.
Dalton actually rejected what I thought was a decent trade over in our other league, the family league, this morning. I was very sad about that.
I'm struggling there.
You know, I mean, it was a 2-for-1, man. Gabe Davis and DeAndre Swift for D-Hop.
I just can't let him go.
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't let him either.
Gabe Davis is the biggest boomer. bust
I
in the
know. I
held on
started
to him.
low. He was
I held
supposed
on
to
to him for
counter.
the 7 weeks.
Yeah.
He
Now you
deserved
gotta
it.
get
it.
your
We generally have a little back and forth when an offer is made. He just rejected. There's like no conversation. I was like, oh, okay.
I don't think you would have liked the response. So I just left it at that.
Dalton was the second
It's okay.
highest scorer in David's league too. So he was on a roll this week.
Yeah, now I just need to keep it up.
Well, little does Dalton know that I cracked the code this year in fantasy. I made a legitimate offer for Brees Hall, which was ignored. And 2 days later, it was a bad day for Brees Hall. I think it was, a couple weeks later, I made a very, very hard push to get Cooper Kupp, who, because he's Cooper Kupp, he is Houdini. He managed to escape the effects for a week. We saw what happened to Cooper Kupp. So I made a legitimate offer for DeAndre Hopkins, which was rejected. Good luck. Good luck.
David, I swear, if something happens to me, I'm flying to Arizona.
That's tough.
No
If
more
something
agents,
happens-
please.
If something happens to D-Hop, I'm quitting fantasy football. I am uninstalling all of my football apps. I don't want to see it.
I'm gonna need you to make an offer for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Miles Sanders, Philadelphia's defense, any and everybody that plays for the Eagles.
All right, let's go ahead and were you done with the recap? Did you have anything else you wanted to go over?
No, because I feel paid.
Okay. We're gonna go and jump into the next segment. Dalton, you cool to stick around and hang out with us?
Sure.
All right, cool. So the next segment is run by Mr. Second Place, David Wright. We'll go ahead and get started right after this.
How are you doing in any other league but this one? I'm just
What's it matter?
curious.
I am ahead of David in this league. and
You
that's
know
all
the
that
league
matters.
that I got myself kind of kicked out of, and then I came back because I threw a fit. I'm doing really good in that league. I'm fourth. I'm actually
This
doing
is
the
actually-
best in that league.
That's a great point. That's a great point, Ash, because there were a lot of conversations at the beginning of the year in
I
that
still
other
don't like
league
it.
about the league median. So, since we are in the report card segment, let's take a little look back. You two claim that with the league median, if you started slow, you had no chance of catching up. I started 11-1 in that league. I was destroying all of you. Get some bad matchups. Had to go through a couple really bad bye weeks. And I basically just went, 2-6? I am now in second place, and the top of the league includes some of the people that said you couldn't catch up in a league that used league median. So that first and foremost on the report card.
I'd also like to say though, I was 7th, and then I won one time. Well, actually 2, because it counts for 2, and now I'm 4th. You should not be able to hop from 7th to 4th that easily.
You're one game behind me, and you get.
I have
You're
the least amount of
point
points
behind.
scored. I have the least amount of points scored against me, and I am 7th in points 4. So I am not that good, but I am 4th. So let's go.
Can you guess who's
skill?
I guess second
skill.
most scored against? Because the guy in last is the most scored against, but I'm the second most scored against. So
Your dad should be. He scored way more points than anybody, and he bumped down.
I've got
Your team also doesn't score points though, Sydney, which is why your record is so bad.
My team don't really score points either. I just have a lot of skill.
I'm just saying I've won my matchup more often than Dylan has, and he's ahead of me by 2 games.
That doesn't matter.
His team's better.
Dylan has more skill than you. It's all about skill.
Okay. Well, I actually.
You're right. My skilled Derrick Henry and Calvin Kamara scoring 10 combined points.
Kamara has been the bane of my existence in the Let's Talk Football League. So, yeah, you can throw the name out, but the production has not been there. We've talked about that numerous times this year. But, okay, so we started a league. I accidentally added the league median setting to it without knowing. We all went through 2 weeks of trying to figure out what this thing meant. Lots of arguments ensued. However, all 4 people here are in both leagues. So I actually really like the league median. I do think it's a little heavily weighted to the point scoring. I wish there was a format in which you could get half of a win for scoring over the league median. I do think that wins and losses should be a little more important. I do, however, like the opportunity for teams that score, which is the point of the game, to get an extra point. Dalton, you're in both leagues. What do you think about the median?
I kind of like it. It's different. So it gives
It
you
is different.
It's not your generic league that everybody's in. So it does add something else. I would like a half a point if you did at least get the median. That way, since you're still putting up points. But I need a lot more help in that league.
I think if I knew going into it that that's what it was, and also I think it's bullshit that we don't have special teams. You're no.
I know. So I decided to have a little fun with the family league.
Save the kickers.
I know. But Ash, you're the only one who cares about them. I'm sorry, okay? So in this league,
What?
no kickers, no defense, 2 extra flex spots for wide receiver and running back only. So we didn't add extra spots for quarterback or tight end. And it's definitely made the league a little interesting. However, I'm crushing in both that league and the Let's Talk Football League. So I just think that the better players, they do okay. I love how Sid ran away for this entire conversation.
I know. Well, the baby's crying, so he's trying to handle it. The only thing that I really don't like about the league is because there's no defense or kickers, the waivers are so thin. They're so thin.
I
Because
agree.
everyone's playing
I agree.
2 extra. So I think maybe if we did it that way next year, I would like to only have 1 flex spot instead of. Can we narrow down the flex spots? I don't know. Seems like a lot.
I agree with you. The waivers were really thin. So I think going into next year, I also left 2 IR spots open. So I think going forward with that idea, I would remove 1 bench spot.
Yeah.
And remove an IR spot. I still want you to have to start 2 extra players that are
Yeah.
going to count towards your total, but we need to cut down on the hoarding. So
Yeah.
we'll look at the bench numbers, the IR numbers, and cut it down so the waivers can be more.
Competitive or
Yeah. So they can be a little more competitive. I didn't foresee that happening, and that was an oversight on my part. But all right, let's jump.
You
Let's
can't
jump
use.
through.
So you,
hold on. I also want to say something about the IR spots. Is that I did this too in every league I created. IR spots in a lot of leagues are not true IR spots, and I've been manipulating the shit out of IR spots this year because you can put players that are out. So I just wait. Like this week, I waited till Zeke went out, and then I went and got a running back off the waivers, which ended up not working for me anyway because I picked up Benjamin, and it was too late to try to kind of do anything else. But I've been doing that all year. I just wait until they're like, oh, this player's out, and I move them. And then if I like my lineup and that person is not out anymore, and my thing's like, well, you can't change your lineup. It's like, well, fine, I like my lineup. I'm still just going to leave one out. And now I have this like extra bench spot essentially. So like next year, I'm going to make sure in the leagues I run that my IR spot is like a true IR spot because I've been benefiting from it completely, but it is essentially another bench spot.
I completely agree.
So,
I did the same.
So the-
You did that in the LTF League. I did it in the Jerry World League. And essentially, you get a 24-hour window. So after the Sunday, Monday games, you get all of Tuesday where that player is still listed as out. You can set your roster for the next week. And if that player comes off, you can just leave. It was interesting. I figured out how to work it. But, yes, we need to do away with that next year.
Yeah.
And that will also open up waivers a little bit.
So you
all
guys
right.
disagree that
Sydney,
waivers
did
aren't
you
as
have any?
competitive? Like you can't get better off waivers.
No,
It's hard to get better off waivers because there's too many people. So when you said you had to build your team through waivers, you were wrong because you can't because there's too many players and bench spots. I'm pretty sure that's what just happened. Am I wrong, Dalton, or is that what just went down?
Well, I got to ask
Well, what's he saying?
Because he's
Sid,
not biased.
you're kind of right there.
One at a time.
Thank you. Dalton just said I'm right. So you just said yourself that the waivers aren't competitive because the teams are too deep and the benches are too deep, so there's not a lot of people out there, which is exactly what I complained about when I was making my arguments early on in the season, saying you can't get better through waivers because the league's too deep and you're stuck with who you draft, and so the median doesn't matter. There's no skill, as you said.
That was never your argument.
Bullshit.
I'm calling it absolute BS.
Okay.
That was never your argument against the league median.
Okay.
Your argument against the league median was because you were doing badly.
Because you can't get better throughout the season if you have a slow start because there's no claim.
That has
There's no waivers.
nothing to do with the
That's
league
what I said.
median. That has everything to do with me leaving too many bench slots and the IR situation.
Okay.
Anyway,
Go back and
would
read
you
it.
like for me to
See
go
it
through the
wrong.
report card?
On to the next one.
Moving on. Yes.
All right. So last week I was not with you folks, but Jeff Wilson, who obviously he was the name last week, and he balled out this week. Obviously everybody in Miami is doing work, but I very much agree with Sid on the points that were made the last couple of weeks about McDaniels bringing over the 2 running backs from San Francisco. They know his system, and they are. Jeff Wilson has that starting job. So, Raheem Mostert got to take the job from Chase Edmonds, and he just lost it too. I do think that Williams is going to keep that team steady. He is going to supply that ground and pound and that steady running game without the injury risk of Raheem Mostert. And that offense terrifies me at this point. OBJ still hasn't picked a team. I picked him up in all redraft leagues over the last week, and I was very disappointed. It was definitely a shot in the dark because I wanted to know before waivers went through tonight if he was going to be on a team or not. Still no news. Very disappointing. Just get it together, Odell. Blackshear, Sid told you to stay away from him, and that was wise advice. I hope you listen. The desperate players were kind of a mix. Samari Torre, that was a big blank, but Christian Watson is not going to do what he did last week every week, so that could still pan out. Sid also gave you Cade Otton, who had decreases in basically every measurable category, and that one's a coin flip for me, and it's something I would stay away from. If you're desperate and you need a starting tight end, great. Grab either one of them, throw it in. But I'm not convinced that Otton and Brady are going to keep it hooking up. Jaylen Warren, great call over there by the Steeler fan himself. And Sid, do you think they're going to sit Najee at some point this year?
Not at all. Jaylen Warren's just somebody to keep Najee fresh.
Okay. Well, because Ash brought up last week as well that she thinks they should tank. I mean, you guys are you're sitting at 3-6. Mm-hmm. Do you think there's a chance that they just shut Najee down?
Why did Najee go from healthy to questionable?
Did you see him? He got hurt at one play.
It didn't happen until today.
The injury report comes out today, so anybody that has an injury gets reported today. A lot of people went from healthy to questionable. A lot.
Yeah, I got screwed with Mark Andrews apparently going back to questionable before I even woke up this morning. Yeah. Most of them will go through after waivers, though.
Yep. No, they're not gonna, because we actually have a pretty easy schedule. We have a chance at going 9-8, like pretty easily. Like not easily, but it's not far fetched for the Steelers to go 9-8. So we got the Bengals at home this week, the Colts, the Falcons, the Ravens at home, the Panthers, the Raiders, and then the Ravens and Browns. So the two toughest matchups over the next 6 weeks are both at home against divisional opponents. So the fact that they're at home, that is big time. I mean, we conceivably could win. I mean, we've already beat the Bengals once. Could do it again. We got TJ back, so it's not – I mean, our defense is a lot different with TJ. And then Colts, Falcons, Ravens again at home, Panthers, Raiders. Those are all very winnable by the Steelers. So I still think they go on – I don't think Tomlin is going to succeed his no losing seasons just yet, I guess I should say.
All right. You also talked about Rachaad White. We've been talking about him for a while, and it seems like the door might have slammed on Lenny this week. So we'll see. With the injury, Rachaad White had a very solid game, 22 for 105, 64% of the snaps was the season high. Obviously, with Lenny getting hurt, Rachaad White proved that he can run the ball for them. So we'll see how that works out. Steven Sims for the Steelers. 10 seconds, Sid, go.
Nothing. George Pickens is him. That's what it is. And our offense.
He did have a season high. He did have a season high 38% snap count. Do you think that keeps going up, or do you think that was just 1 week to get situated after Claypool and?
No, he's stepping into the number 3 role. He'll be our number 3 going forward. He's going to split with Gunnar Olszewski. So losing Claypool, that's why I had mentioned him last week, is because he is going to step into the number 3 role, and he'll be that guy going forward. Our offensive coordinator doesn't know how to use weapons, though, so I'm staying away from anybody not named Deontay or Pickens or Farmer.
Okay. All right, and on to the questions. So we had Ash asked about Jerry Jeudy, Ayuk, or Pickens. Sid went. It was dependent on Debo starting. Debo did start. Pickens took the win. Good call there. They were only about 2 points off, but Pickens was the high scorer.
I did play Ayuk.
Oh, you should have listened to your husband.
Well, I honestly didn't know Debo was playing until the game started, so I wasn't really paying attention. That's the league I won by 1 point, and they didn't play a quarterback because they had Kyler Murray. I think by the time anyone realized that Kyler Murray wasn't playing, it was the afternoon games are about to start now. What do I do? It was too late for them to do anything really. So.
Wow, how mad would you have been if that 2-point difference between the two actually cost you the week.
Oh, so last week, that's the same league that I have Mixon in, and I lost last week. So it's just, stuff happens to me every week in that league. I'm like, this just isn't fair. It's just not fair. So.
Yes, Sean Spencer, we do have great command of this show. So we will continue to command this show, and you, sir, can just stop.
Sit over there, and you're not invited to this one. You've been on too many talking about your damn Commanders.
Oh, man. All right, so there was, unfortunately, Ash did take a loss last week during the show. And I think she might have had more of a hand in what happened to the Cowboys this week than I realized until I went back to do the report card. Ash, we talked about it last week. There are a lot of people in the NFL that watch this program. When you speak on things,
I don't know where this is going.
they are listening. And when the Cowboys-Packers game was brought up, and Aaron Rodgers, and blah, 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 Ash's only response was that Aaron Rodgers stinks.
Aaron did not say Aaron Rodgers stinks, did I?
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Well,
Word
he
for
doesn't
word.
stink.
Aaron Rodgers stinks.
Aaron.
And then he went out and he put up his season high in fantasy points, and we all know how that ended on the field.
That's
So,
not
Ash,
fair. Because I don't think Aaron Rodgers stinks. I think Aaron Rodgers is very good at football, but the Packers as a whole stink. Well, they did until they played us, but that was, I said all week, this is a trap game. This is a trap game.
you very
All they have to do is
specifically said
run
that.
the ball, and we won't be able to stop it. This is a trap game.
Now, what's surprising is they actually kept running the ball.
They did something.
That's what ripped my heart out, was the fact that we couldn't stop it. Like,
We can't
oh
ever
my
stop the run.
God.
We can't ever stop the run. So I knew if I played AJ Dillon this week, and I was like, honestly, if they just keep running AJ Dillon, they have a pretty good chance of winning.
You couldn't really stop the pass either, though.
Ash did
Well,
get a
Watson
win.
had a career day. That jerk.
Ash did get a win later in the show, though, when Nicole needed some advice on Taysom Hill or Dalton Schultz. Ash chose Dalton Schultz, and Sydney took Taysom Hill for 0.1 points.
Dalton
Ride that
Schultz had
roller
a
coaster with
good-
Hill.
I'm mad at Dalton Schultz. I can't even think about him. He makes me so angry. He has a reason. There was an interception. I don't care. I'll let Dak have that other one with the CD, but I will not. And then Schultz, did you read that? Schultz was in the locker room yelling at everybody. I was like, boy, you should be yelling at yourself. I don't know what you're yelling at everybody else for. Calm down. You ain't even gonna be on our team next year.
Cowboys fall apart.
This is the part of we were here and now we're going down. This is what the Packers do to you. God. You can question your
Nice
life.
if they did it more often this year.
I think they could have done it to anybody else. Ugh.
I hate the Packers.
So do I.
No, you
David, this is actually David's fault because David, every time the Packers are out, goes, I just love to watch Aaron Rodgers fail. That's what he's been saying all season. So this is actually your fault.
That's fair.
Yep.
But I did not say that on the program for him to watch. Okay? I say that in the privacy of your living room.
Oh.
Ah. Okay, that's it for the report card. So what do we got for this week? Since we're not going to talk about last week anymore.
Okay, let's get to the next segment, which is Slash Waiver Wire. Since we switched it, we haven't updated that yet, but it is Desperate Time for Desperate Players and Waiver Wire pickups. We're going to go ahead and start at the quarterback position, if there are any. David,
Quarterbacks were, I was very unimpressed by everything I found out there. Anybody who was rostered less than 50% either had a really bad matchup coming up, or I just don't trust them. So the one that I feel the most comfortable with at this point was Mariota. He's been stringing together decent games if you're stringing a quarterback. Let's see, what they got? They got Chicago this week. Mariota's at 44%. Chicago is like they're like the anti-Denver. Denver boycotted touchdowns on both sides of the ball. Chicago welcomes touchdowns on both sides of the ball. And I think Mariota will have a pretty decent day this week. And he's going to have to throw the ball. His best game this year was against Atlanta, and they had to throw the ball. They got into a shootout in the fourth quarter and overtime of that game, and I think he's going to have to do that to keep up with Fields this week. So I will go with Mariota.
Yeah, it's pretty much it, really. The only other one I have is Baker. He should be starting this week. PJ Walker's hurt. They have a good matchup against Baltimore. Baltimore's been giving up a lot of air yards. He knows Baltimore very well, playing for Cleveland. That's about all I got for you, though.
Baker's not out with the concussion.
No, because he was
headbutt all
headbutting
those
fools.
guys with helmets on.
I mean, Danny Dimes is at 65% owned. He's got a good matchup against Detroit. But yeah, that's about it.
The one I almost looked at was
Matt Ryan's out there, but he's got a bad matchup. I know he had a good week this week. But
of course. At 21.1% rostered, your heir apparent, sir. What do you think?
Who? Sorry, my mic keeps cutting in and out.
Kenny Pickett. What do you think? I was looking at the schedule. You guys have Cincinnati, at Indy, at Atlanta over the next 3 weeks. Cincinnati's secondary has not been as good going through the year.
Cincinnati's secondary is all hurt. That's why.
Awuzie is gone. What do you think? Yeah.
Much better than whatever we got going on.
I think the matchups are favorable for sure. It's just
You wouldn't start him against the Bengals?
No, I'm saying they are favorable. I think the matchups are favorable for Kenny Pickett. I think it's a good. Okay. I think they're all good matchups the next 3 weeks. It's just
offensive coordinator sucks.
That's the problem.
The what?
The offensive coordinator sucks. So
don't expect anything crazy.
Give what you can. I mean, there was a pass in the Steelers game to Najee on like a wheel route. That was an absolute dime by Kenny Pickett. Hit Najee in the hands. He dropped it, but Kenny is very good. He's gonna be good. We just need some better play calling.
Heard. What do you think there, Dalton?
I mean, it's not a bad option, but like Sid said, until they replace that coordinator, Kenny Pickett's not going to thrive in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about Tannehill for the next couple weeks?
I looked at it, and I hated it.
I don't mind it. Like, Green Bay's defense isn't much to talk about, let's be honest. There's a lot of injuries. The Bengals have a weak secondary. And then, yeah, the Eagles will be difficult, but then you have the Jags after that.
There's one problem. For a quarterback to get points, he has to throw the ball to a...
Mm-hmm. That's where I was going to go. What receivers does he have? Exactly.
Burks came back, He at least put up 19 points, and we're talking about a streaming option.
100%. Yeah. So did Kenny Pickett, and
yeah.
I like Pickett more.
There's one league where I have Geno and Trevor Lawrence, and they're both on a bye this week, and I'm like, well, I don't think I'm going to play a quarterback this week, I guess, because I also have Travis Etienne, Christian Kirk in that league. It's so fun.
I looked at Tannehill. I really wanted to believe, but I don't trust it because, like you said, they have a great schedule going forward if they had weapons. to throw the ball to. I think Treylon Burks is supposed to be back at practice this week.
Came back. I think he had like 4 targets or something.
Did he play this last week?
Yeah, he played.
Wow,
Yep.
I missed that.
That's all right. You had a rough week.
I think Tannehill missed him too.
A little bit.
But I mean, he went 19 for 36, 255 yards, and that was against a very, very solid Denver defense. So, like I said, I just don't trust their passing attack, but it's a great schedule.
That's about it for quarterbacks, though. You got any quarterbacks?
No, I hate them all.
They all stink.
Let's go
That's
to.
normally my. I was like, no, I hate everybody on the waiver.
Do you got running backs or receivers next, David?
I think we both want to talk about receivers because running backs
Definitely.
are pretty boring this week.
That is a fact.
All the fireworks are over there in the receivers, so I will cede to you, sir, and let you go.
I have a receiver.
Oh. Go ahead.
Oh!
Everyone should go get Watson because apparently he knows how to play football now. And he's like really good. And
Christian Watson.
he's available in like every league.
He's only rostered in
It was
7.
the Cowboys, okay? He's not going to keep doing it.
Our defense is good. It's
I've been
supposed
saying
to be.
all season that Aaron Rodgers has been saying this dude is a freak. He's an alien. He's literally somebody he's never had before. Like his skill set is insane. Like
Well, that's ridiculous.
Aaron Rodgers has been
after
talking it
having
up. It's
Devontae
just like,
Adams.
when
Like,
is it gonna
say
pop? When
that.
is it gonna pop? When is it gonna pop? And it popped.
He finally got him.
Let's get into this. Yes.
There we go,
Yay,
Nicole.
Nicole.
We talked about it. What up, Nicole? We talked about it early in the season. We've talked about this receiving core a couple times. AA Ron goes on the McAfee show every week, which Sid listens to religiously. And what did I tell you on Sunday when I was at your house, Sid? I was facing a horrible dilemma that morning as to who to pick up, and it was between 2 players. Either I go get Dulcich because I don't trust Freiermuth completely, or I go get Christian Watson, who I've been looking at for the last couple weeks, but he can't get healthy. And Aaron Rodgers, as we've talked about numerous times, Aaron Rodgers hates kids, he hates puppies, he hates everything
Good
that
one.
everyone loves. So,
He likes a lot of stuff you like, actually, so you better calm down.
Yeah, he's like a weird hippie. And
So
I
much
love
hate.
that.
Exactly.
No, I like low-key really like Aaron Rodgers is arrogant. I think every time he talks, I'm like, oh, you need to shut up. But then he does like his weird hippie stuff, and I'm like, oh, I just love him. I love to hate him.
It's a love-hate relationship.
so,
100%.
so my question and my criticism here, I've been saying all year that I do think this is Aaron Rodgers' fault. Because he's a jerk to these young rookie receivers. He's not nurturing. He's not developing them. He's literally going out and talking trash about them to the media. That's not how you bring a young player up, in my opinion. And I do think that the issues they've had this year with the lack of connection between him and some of these younger players is his fault. I think he proved it this week because all year, when one of these kids makes a horrible drop, he won't go back to them. Christian Watson had a huge drop in this game, very early on. Huge drop. But because Aaron Rodgers had absolutely no other options in this game, what did he do? He went back to him, and the kid started catching the ball. So, Dalton, what do you think? Is this kid the truth? Is this the next budding relationship, or is he going to get mad at Christian Watson next week and then put him in the corner for a week or two?
I think he's starting to realize that he can't put him in the doghouse anymore because he doesn't have any options anymore. Like, seriously, what are we talking about here? Dubs is hurt, which that's not good because he was starting to trust him a lot because he had been throwing to him even though he was dropping the passes. So, but Watson he's a freak, and David leaves because we're talking about the Packers.
Pain. He just goes pain.
I think David.
I'm right here. I'm
I can
just
hear you.
crying.
I think David reads headlines and doesn't listen to Rodgers. And Rodgers has never talked crap about his receivers. He's holding them accountable. Now, what Tom Brady does on the sidelines to his teammates, that's a little different.
Have you ever seen Tom Brady go in and talk to the media and say that the people who are on the field aren't performing, so maybe they shouldn't be on the field?
Including myself, yeah.
Talking about
That's what he
his
said.
young receivers.
Get
No,
the whole
Tom
quote
Brady.
in there. Hey, if you're going to read the quote, read the whole quote at least, because he says, including myself, sir. So if you're going to just take Cliff Notes, Mr. Cliff Notes, sir, and cherry pick stats, Mr. Cherry Pick Statter, like you love to say that, right? Go ahead and get the whole thing next time you're talking about Rodgers.
It's a well-known fact that he doesn't get along with rookies and young players. I'm not making this up. This isn't headline cherry picking. This is Dalton, correct me if I'm wrong.
Has he had issues in the past? Yes. Is he an arrogant asshole? Yes. Is he still going to do his job with the receivers? Yes.
Is he being forced to change his ways right now because I think more than puppies and children, he hates losing more.
Yes.
Well, I'm pretty sure we all
He's the one making the adjustment.
Think that any Packers player in like the history of ever has ever come out and said like, yeah, I just hated playing with Aaron Rodgers. He was such a jerk to me. So I don't know. Like
not everybody can be Tom Brady and just go get all pros to learn to play with and like just get one after the other when like one gets hurt. Sometimes you have to build a relationship with the young guy and you got to hold them accountable, which is important for young people. And just because you're holding them accountable doesn't mean you're talking shit about them. That's a difference.
First, you build trust. Then you can hold accountable. And as the veteran, it's his job to build that trust, build that relationship. That's not the rookie's job. And as someone who manages people,
MVP.
Thank you.
And yes, and it's his job to build the
adapt to
relationship.
him.
I agree.
I completely disagree.
There's two.
These kids are trying to learn the game. These kids are trying to learn the game.
Yes, and he only gets 2 preseason games with them, half an off season, because the rookies do their own thing. Like, it's like we got to learn now because we got to win now. So, like, you better pick it up quick or I have to go somewhere else. I have to win. Like, it's not it's okay. I know we didn't get it this time. Maybe next week. Oh, you had another rough one? Okay, it's all right. We'll bounce back. No, it's a win now league. You have to win now. You got to be held accountable.
His petty ass.
He doesn't have a veteran.
When one of them dropped the ball, when one of them would drop a ball, he wouldn't go back to him for 2 quarters. That's petty. That's petty.
When a running back fumbles in any offense, they get benched for 2 quarters. Like,
any offense?
Do your job.
False.
Most offenses.
And fumbling the football and dropping a pass are worlds apart. So don't even go there. One is a turnover, and one is, okay, line up, run the next play.
If it's on third down, it's a turnover. Essentially, you got a punt now. Anyway, did you see the JJ Watt on Hard Knocks? Just the clip. Rondale Moore comes over to him, and he's like,
I asked you if you saw that. Get
exactly. And what does JJ say?
That's a leader. That's a leader.
Hey, that sucks. It's kind of your whole job. Catch the ball next time. JJ Watt's not a dick.
Way to edit out the entire rest of the video. He was cracking a joke. Lifted the kid's chin up, pat him on the head, and he was like, dude, it's okay, man. Don't get down on yourself. And he goes, is it Sunday? What did he say to him? He said, is it Sunday or is it Tuesday? Get out there, catch the next ball. And
how do you know that's not what Rodgers does in practice? You're seeing what Rodgers does in the game.
Stop! Don't even try and sit here and tell me that Aaron Rodgers is this nurturing veteran who just brings the kids in and teaches them the way, like JJ Watt. All right, no, the problem. Yeah, don't even equate the two. Anyway, that is way too much Aaron Rodgers talk for
we got
my stomach to handle. God. All right, moving on from
All
Christian
I was
Watson.
trying to say was that Christian Watson looked good.
Anyway,
I should
pick up
pick him
Christian
up.
Watson because he is the truth.
That's all I was trying to say.
Okay, wait. Are we
Also,
all
I
in
like
agreement?
Donovan Peoples-Jones. That's my next one. That's all I got, though.
Who is?
Donovan Peoples-Jones was their second one.
Okay, so we were all in agreement, though. Christian Watson is probably the number one waiver pickup at any position for this week.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
And Peoples-Jones.
It's another good one.
It is a good one. It's layered. It's layered, though. I'm scared of that one. Anybody want to go first, or you want me to jump in?
Watson should be back soon, too.
That's the only thing. I'd wait to be for sure when Watson comes back.
But I think he's doing pretty good without even Watson.
He's been very quietly, very, very efficient. Let me pull it up. My one. Go ahead if anybody wants to jump in.
That's all I got on Peoples-Jones. Yeah, he's rostered in exactly half of leagues, but he's had 10 points or more all but 3 games this year.
I think it only goes up when Watson comes back.
Very consistent.
Good. I like Landry did pretty good, and with Michael Thomas being out for the foreseeable future, he was another one that I like too.
Any more you want to rattle off?
What up, Nicole?
No, I think
Okay, so I really love what Peoples-Jones has been doing over there. Here's my concern. At Buffalo, at home against Tampa Bay, at Houston, at Cincinnati, Baltimore, New Orleans, and Washington.
I don't know what happened.
Houston, as terrible as they are against the run, is actually decent against the pass. I was looking it up earlier today. I think they've given up. I think they're in like the top 3 of the fewest completions allowed.
Derek Stingley Jr., their rookie cornerback, is really good.
Obviously, at Buffalo, at home against Tampa, at Houston. Those are your next 3 weeks. Watson comes back for the Houston game. All eyes on Watson. We'll see there. He may blow the doors off that stadium and just come out and want to light them up. Who knows? He may not even be in football shape for all we know. So I'm worried about Peoples-Jones. But he has been very, very consistent over the last, 4 or 5 weeks. So that's a coin flip for me. What do you guys think?
I think the benefit of Peoples-Jones is Amari Cooper is going to get a lot of the attention. The running back's going to get a lot of attention. He's kind of the forgotten. So, we might have lost the internet there for a minute. Can you hear us?
I can hear
Sorry,
you.
did you lose
Where'd Dalton go?
Man, we lost Dalton. Can you hear me? Oh, I don't know. Our thing froze for a minute. I don't know if we lost him or anyway. He's just far enough down on the depth chart to get the second or third cornerback, the single coverage all the time. You're gonna shade to Amari's side. You're gonna load the box for Chubb. It just leaves him on an island a lot. So that's a really big benefit for him going forward, and it shouldn't change, just barring an injury. So that's the only thing I have about him. Who else you got?
All right. I love it. I love it. So Jeff Saturday just opened up career opportunities for just the entire world, the entire NFL community. If you've ever watched a football game, if you liked football when you were younger and kind of got out of it, if you sit around like us nerds and just talk about football every week, you too have a chance to become a head coach in the NFL. And wow, just wow. In 1 week, the Colts became what the Colts were in the first couple weeks of the year before whatever psychedelic drugs were introduced into the water system at that facility. I don't know. I don't know what happened over there, and I don't care because Jeff Saturday is here to fix it. Jonathan Taylor, he gets to run the ball. Matt Ryan, he gets to throw the ball.
He gets to run
And
the ball.
I think it definitely puts Pittman back where he was earlier in the year, rather than this nonsense with Hillinger and the new offensive coordinator and all this. I think Paris Campbell.
I think Paris Campbell goes
probably.
back up.
I think Paris Campbell will probably take the jump over Alec Pierce because Paris Campbell had success with Matt Ryan earlier in the year, and then we kind of started looking at Alec Pierce when he had that big game. I think out of everybody over there, Paris Campbell gets the biggest jump. He's at 28% rostered over in Sleeper, and I think good things are ahead for him.
Yeah, I'm annoyed because I'm pretty sure I dropped him in some leagues. So I was like, if this is the way the Colts are going to go, I'm done with the Colts. And then now they come back and have this game. And I'm like, now Matt Ryan's back, and Matt Ryan likes Campbell, it seems. He targets him a lot. And I'm like, you're joking, right? Like, this is not happening. The Jeff Saturday hiring, though, man, that's caused a lot of stir in the NFL world. I don't mind it. I just hope, let's just keep that same energy for when other people get hired, that we're not like, what are their credentials? Well, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. So like if women get hired, just keep that same energy.
I love it. I've been hearing it from analysts, so many analysts and podcasters for the last couple of days. They're just like, guys, you realize this means we got a shot, right?
I don't mind it necessarily.
I'm not sure.
I just want to keep the same energy.
I'm not sure how many people off the street, podcasters, anything like that, played 14 years in the NFL, have a couple Super Bowl rings.
I know.
Played with Peyton Manning. I mean, he's got a little bit of credentials, I would say.
No, the man balled out, and I actually had that written down to call out Sean Spencer and Bobby Wills for being just absolutely way off the mark on Sunday. Bobby came in. Bobby was big mad about Jeff Saturday accepting the offer and Jim Irsay for offering it. And Sean was like, I mean, if you offered me a lot of money to go coach, I'd be like, let me make sure the check clears, but I'll be there. But the man has pedigree, and like you just said, he was part of a winning culture. His personal accolades aside, he won a Super Bowl. He's been there. He knows what it takes to get there. So I was not mad about this. And to be honest, they've been trying to get him in as an offensive line coach for years.
He's been a consultant to the team.
What's up?
He's been a consultant to the team the last couple of years. So it's not like he's not in the building.
But they tried to get him as an offensive line coach. And he said no. He has been working with the team and involved with the organization. But I think what he saw this year pushed him over the edge. I guarantee you, he kicked some door open in the front office and said, "What in the hell are you doing?" And I think that's what led to this. They wanted him in a larger role for a long time. And I'm happy he got the shot. I am. But I think it'll be good things for everybody in that offense.
Yeah, the other thing, he was the president of the NFL Players Association during the lockout, and he's the one that helped end the lockout. So, he's a very intelligent.
I did not know that.
Yep, very involved. He was a guest on the Pat McAfee show on Monday. And he said,
of course he was.
So just to give you an idea, a background, Irsay called him and offered him the job.
Is McAfee going to be the new offensive coordinator?
That's what they said. Well, so Pat said everybody thought when they hired Jeff, because Pat defended Jeff, obviously, because he played for the Colts. He loves anybody Colts related. He was like, everybody that thinks we hired Jeff Saturday to tank is hilariously wrong, because if they wanted to tank, they would have hired me as head coach. And that's
Do you think this is a long-term hire, though? Because in my mind, I feel like there was a conversation between Jeff Saturday and, the owner and the GM and whatnot. And I do think that Jeff Saturday I don't know. I don't think that he had head coaching aspirations.
Yeah,
I kind of feel like this might have a clock on it, where he's like, no, I will handle this until you guys find somebody better.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that I would agree with that. I don't know, because he, like you said, they've been trying to get him on a coaching position for like a while now, and he's like, no. I don't think he wants that lifestyle. I know he has like his own family, he has kids and things. Like from what I've seen just on the internet, it just seems like I don't know that he would drop everything he has going for him to pick up like that coaching lifestyle and like do that long term. But I'm sure he was like, what the hell are we doing? We're not doing this anymore. Like something's got to give. And if you need me to step in and take control of it for a minute until, you guys can figure it out, I'm down to do that, because this is not okay what we're doing right now.
So it's funny. He actually said that Irsay called him. He didn't even know that he was on the radar for the head coaching job. But Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, called him and asked him if he wanted to be the head coach.
Connections matter.
What up, Bobby?
Also, too, I saw a lot of people that are like, I can't believe he took that position. There is never a time in my career that I've been offered a promotion and I've been like, even in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if I'm qualified for that. I am not going to say no. It's a pay raise. It's a step up. And are you going to be like, no, I'd rather just stay right where I'm at down here. Not like, no, like there's not any time I'm going to be like, yeah, I don't think I'm qualified for that. No. No, I'm just going to try to step up and do it. Unless it's going to hurt people in the process, then you shouldn't do it. But I think people are kind of ridiculous being like, he should have said no. Why would you say no?
I will say, in Bobby's defense, I did just remember the term, legal tanking came up. So in that light, if the Colts were just trying to tank and Saturday took the job and didn't intend to do it the right way, then I would agree with that. But that's not what I'm saying, and I don't think that the Saturday would do that with his connection to that franchise.
I would say I think he has too much respect for the franchise and too much he's really devoted to that franchise just to go in there and be like, this is going to be terrible. Let's just lose.
I think he gets a lot of respect from the players. I think because he's been around. He was a Colt a long time. He's he seems like a really good leader, a great speaker. They are responding to him well, so I can very well see them. The talent's there, so it's just a matter of the players performing and being up to task. And for Sean, he's asking about if they can maintain this, go on a playoff run. I'm not sure they make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to lay down for anybody for the rest of the season. We see it all the time. When players want to play for their coach for whatever reason, whatever it is, they rally together and they go on some special runs. When the Colts before, when Chuck Pagano was their coach and he got diagnosed with cancer, he had to step away from the team. They had an interim head coach. Granted, it was Bruce Arians, pretty good guy. He stepped in, and it was Chuck Strong for the rest of the season. And the Colts went on an insane run being Chuck Strong. And it's just, if you can get behind something to motivate you going forward, it goes a long way when everybody is very talented already. So
well, that's with anything too. If you like your boss, if you respect the person you're working for, if my 6-year-olds in my pouch respect me, they'll want to do the work for me. If you respect your coach, you'll want to do the work for them. I even think with Kenny Pickett and Mitchell Trubisky, if you respect your quarterback, you want to play harder for them. So,
100%.
If they respect him, they're obviously going to go out there and try to play harder.
For sure. I think they do have a playoff caliber team. They dug self a hole, but I think they can get out of it. We'll see, though.
What their schedule looks like. What is their division looking like, too?
It's the Jags, the Titans, and the Texans. So it's a wide open division.
Yeah, if they could go on a win streak here. It's
100%.
not over yet.
100%. All right, back to fantasy.
I completely agree with all that.
That's been big news. It's fantasy relevant because, Campbell, who I was ready to drop and never look back at again, I'm now like, wait, come back.
So, I guess, what we're here to talk about, fantasy-wise, who do you I would say give me your 1, 2, 3 from that offense. Who you think is going to get the biggest bump? Obviously, there's been a lot of disappointment over there this year. What 3 players, and in what order do you think this changes the rest of their fantasy season?
I think Jonathan Taylor gets turned around for him. I mean, if you're just talking like waiver pickups, like lower on the totem pole, that's a different story.
No,
but like,
everybody. Because, I mean, Taylor's been a disappointment
100%.
a lot of the year, too. So I guess when looking at this organization, just anybody top to bottom on the field, who do you think improves the most?
I think it's Jonathan Taylor, Paris Campbell, and then Michael Pittman Jr.
That's what I would say too.
in that order.
I would also say.
I completely agree. I'm still holding out hope for Matty Ice. I think it's interesting that he got the job back with zero notice like he did. And I wonder if that was a culture building move or if that was a football move. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Saturday trying to get the locker room back. Like, look, this man has been in this league for a long time. He knows what he's doing. We're going to go with the more experienced player.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, you need more time with the clipboard. Or if it really was that they have zero faith in Ellinger to be able to improve. One is good for Matt, one's not. So I don't know. We'll see that going forward. But they do have a rough schedule. I looked at Matty Ice for waivers, and I did not like what I see. So
That.
Yeah,
what up, Anthony?
to answer Sean's questions, I wouldn't trust Matt Ryan too much. I think they're going to lean heavily on the run game still. Same with Alec Pierce. Matt Ryan seems to have a connection with
I'm real sad. I had a trade lined up for Jonathan Taylor 2 weeks ago with Steven. Had I known Jeff Saturday was going to take the job.
I don't know, it's 1 week too. I'm curious to see how this goes moving
against
forward.
the down in the dumps Raiders team too. So, yeah, I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket yet. So, in anyone there really.
Maybe the Raiders. You know who else needs a new coach? The Raiders. They should go pick someone up off the streets too.
They said they already that McDaniels is guaranteed through next year.
What? That is the dumbest. I'm all for like coaches need time, but come on, you have all the talent in the world on that offense, and you can't get anything moving. They are significantly worse this year than last year, and they got more pieces on their team. You got Devontae Adams. What are you doing? Oh, that's silly. That's also not fantasy related, but.
You got any more wide receivers?
I got a few. I was going to rattle some off.
Dang.
And then
Good.
some to avoid as well. Kadarius ride that pony Tony.
Oh my goodness. Magically healed.
He's a little over 50%, but if he is available, go get that man because he is going to be a fantasy winner the rest of the season. If you can get him.
Anthony.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sid, real quick. To everybody watching on Facebook and YouTube, if you guys have any start sit questions or any questions about the trade deadline in most fantasy leagues this week, make sure you get them in the comments, and we'll do our best to get through them. Go ahead, sir.
You see
No,
what
you're good.
Anthony said?
What?
You see what Anthony said?
No.
He
Careful.
said
Ash.
don't get any other streams suspended.
Yeah, for real.
Oh,
I got it back, by the way.
I got Sydney banned on TikTok because I cussed out Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I got banned for bullying and harassment because she's in the background yelling at Devontae Smith while we watched the game yesterday.
He lost me money.
Oh, my
It
God.
was supposed
Yeah.
to be Miles Sanders. It was
Never
Anyway.
spite Ash.
Yeah,
Never.
literally. So Kadarius Tony, he's the only one I like. There's like 4 I'm going to tell you to stay away from that are popular right now. Van Jefferson, Ben Skowronek, they're both being picked up in a lot of leagues due to the Cooper Cup news. I would avoid it. Skowronek over Van if you're going to go anybody, but I would stay away. That offense is in shambles.
Watch Allen Robinson just go. Whoop.
He's going to be the number one. I don't trust
And
anybody
I
else.
dropped him, too.
Darius Slayton is a very hot topic right now because he had his Darius Slayton game of the year. He does this every year where he has one good game, and goes bananas. Don't even worry about it. Don't pick him up. He's not going to be the guy.
I saw him trending up. I'm like, he got you. He got you.
Nick Westbrook-Ikhine for the Titans. He's the one that kind of actually had a good game out of all the receivers. I don't trust the offense too much. I don't trust Tannehill too much. We talked about that earlier. Again, he's another one that's trending up. I would just avoid. And then last, Kendall Hinton, the Denver receiver. He's trending up due to the Jerry Jeudy news. That offense, again, another one that's in shambles. Can't score touchdowns. I would
I don't
avoid.
like Jerry Jeudy.
I wouldn't worry about picking him up at all. Those are a lot of the popular ones that I say now.
Skowronek, I 100% echo your statement. That's exactly my thought on that situation. I did talk about Van Jefferson, I think it was like 3 weeks ago, as he was coming back, hoping to see if he could, fight for that number 2 spot against Allen Robinson. But Skowronek has been there. He's had a huge snap count a lot of the year. I definitely think that he is probably the more reliable way to go there.
Van Jefferson didn't look good the last game either. He had a good drop too.
When these guys come back from injury, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, they're back 100%." He's been gone for how long? You don't just
and their offense
don't
is
step
very
back.
meh.
The only other thing I have to add would be DeAndre Carter. If you are a Mike Williams and or Keenan Allen owner, that game is going to be played on Sunday night, which means if they don't play, the only options you will have are the unknown options from San Fran and Arizona, who play on Monday night. So if you have better options, I would obviously sit those other guys, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, because that's a risk you don't want to take. However, if you can manage to snag DeAndre Carter, it could be a solid fill-in for the Sunday night game. It's all about what your roster is looking like. I don't think it's something I would chase unless I'm a Mike Williams or Keenan Allen owner, and I want to try and start either one of those guys, but I can't risk being left empty-handed if they don't play. So.
Just if you have Keenan Allen, just expect him not to play, and if he does, expect him to do bad.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? There's only one thing that Keenan Allen is better at than being an NFL wide receiver, and what is it? It's
pissing me off every week.
NFL wide receiver.
I was doing so
warned
good.
you.
I had Mike Williams in a league, and I was doing so good. I was winning every week, and then since he got hurt, I've lost every single week. I hate Chargers receivers.
All right. I think that wraps it up for receivers, right? Do you have any other?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to go just run off your running backs that you have, if any? I'll respond and then run my tight ends, and then you respond, and then Ash throws in all the ones that we missed.
Nicole has a question.
So I was definitely on the Jaylen Warren train. We already talked about that. I was kind of interested what your take was. A lot of whispers out there about them sitting Najee at some point this year if it gets out of hand, in which case he could become a starter. Jerick McKinnon. They keep saying Pacheco's the starter. Pacheco hasn't really – he has not performed. And guess what? The kid put the ball on the ground again this week. So Jerick McKinnon, I think, could be a solid place filler to get through a bye week. He's not somebody I'm going to rely on for the rest of the year. But the whole Pacheco thing has been interesting. Kyren Williams, very similar to the Najee situation. Like, what the hell else do they have to lose? Give the kid a shot, see what he can do. Nothing over there is working right now. And they're talking about Cam Akers again. That's how desperate they are for a running back. So
I can't stand any of those guys.
yeah, and I saw you picked up Kyron Williams in one of our leagues. Good job.
I'm gonna have to start him this week because I don't have anybody else.
I wouldn't sit on it for too long. If you do go get him, see what happens this week. If nothing happens, I would be just fine parting ways and going after something else. And then Eno Benjamin went from starter to, commuter. He got kicked, and Houston picked him up. Houston, obviously, they don't need a starting running back. However, it's not like they have a passing attack. So I can see Eno getting some work over in Houston. Honestly, I would probably drop him. He's at 47%, but I think that's because people have yet to be able to wrap their head around the fact that he was dropped and then claimed off waivers, and now he's in Houston.
I dropped him. Well, I'm in the process of dropping him.
I had him listed for waivers because he had been released, and then so I went to Houston, and I'm like, I don't know about that. But the one real fun one could be Treston Ebner over in Chicago because Khalil Herbert just went on the IR about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours before the show started. So David Montgomery is the lead back. When Ebner filled in for Montgomery behind Herbert earlier this year, he got some rushing work, he got some passing work. None of it was spectacular, but David Montgomery is fragile. So there you go. Those are my running backs.
Yep. Just my response.
Writing a novel over here.
I know. We'll get to that right after. I'm just going to respond to what you just said. I would, avoid Kyron Williams. If they're going back to Cam Akers, that tells you that how everything you need to know about Kyron Williams. Eno Benjamin, Dameon Pierce is the man. The only reason I would pick Eno up is if you have Pierce just as a handcuff, if you want it. Who else did you say? I'm trying to think back off the top of my head. If not, I'll just jump into mine. Isaiah Pacheco, I'd avoid until they actually use him. I don't know why they're not. Right around the 50-60% available or owned is Brian Robinson. Gus Edwards is supposed to be back. And then Rashad White is at 56% owned. Go get him.
Yeah.
I've been talking about him for weeks. If he's available.
That is doubtful too. So what league is that?
He's not available. He's available in 56% of all sleeper leagues.
I thought he was available in that league because I was about to jump over there.
The other running back I wanted to mention that wasn't mentioned is Elijah Mitchell for the Niners. He appears actually they said that he is going to split the carries with Christian McCaffrey. It appears the Niners are going to take the safe approach with McCaffrey and not run him into the dirt and get him hurt, which is a good thing, which means Elijah Mitchell is going to get some carries. He was their lead back going into the season. He is a good back. I accidentally turned my flashlight on. So if he's available, I don't mind him at all as a streamer or somebody to pick up if you need a running back. That's everything I had. Anything else on running backs, guys?
No.
The Elijah Mitchell thing is hilarious to me because, we talked about Derrick Henry versus CMC, was it like 3-4 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
And this was my concern, was that he would go somewhere, wouldn't be the whole show, and would lose touches. Your argument was that the touches would be more impactful, and right out of the gate they were. And now they're doing this. So, honestly, from the standpoint of an NFL fan, this makes me so happy.
Yeah.
I want to watch Christian McCaffrey play for a good team for the next 6 years. As a fantasy owner, you got to be, worried. But we'll see how that shakes out.
For sure. Do you want to jump into Nicole's question? She's got a couple.
What's up?
Do you want to jump into Nicole's question and then we'll do tight ends?
Yeah, let's do it.
She's got a couple.
Anthony had a really, really solid.
I read Anthony's. I read Anthony's. He said he's in a league with.
All I know is I want the Christian Okoye side of that. That's all I know. Because that was a bad, bad man. Okay?
Anyway, that's Nicole. Hey, Anthony's got me dying over here. He said, I bought a pair of FUBUs at Walmart last week. This dude. Anyway, where's Nicole's first question? Okay, so it's right here. I think it is. Is it good to replicate other fantasies?
If you see one working for you.
So like
Okay.
having the
Thinking about
same
that.
players
On multiple teams?
I can speak on this.
Well, it's either good or bad.
Don't do it.
If it's
I-
working for you, do it. That's what you should have prefaced.
Yes.
She drafted all the same players
So
on all her
I'm
leagues.
in like 8 leagues, and in all 8 leagues, I was the number 1 through number 3 pick. Like I was either first, second, or third. Like I was in the top. So I drafted a lot of the same guys because a lot of the same guys were available to me at those picks. I mean, if you like your guys, you like your guys, and you go that way. So now, I mean, I had like Najee in 4 leagues. I have Ezekiel Elliott in multiple leagues. I had the Cam Akers in multiple leagues. So it just stinks that if you do that and then one of those guys gets hurt, now you're Jesus, get out of here, you guys. If you do that,
Bro, the Stephon Marbury's though, hey, these were some kicks back
this
in the
is stupid. I don't even know.
Go
who-
get you some Iversons, Anthony.
day. I3s.
I wear Crocs. The only thing that stinks about that is if one of your guys gets hurt and now you're screwed in all your leagues instead of just one of your leagues. So,
Yep.
But the other nice thing about it is that it's easier to track what you're doing when you have kind of the same guys in all your leagues. So
Yeah.
it kind of depends.
If they're doing good, it's good.
Yeah.
If they're not, it's not.
That's what I'm
To
saying. If
sum
you're
it up.
doing good, you're doing real good. If you're doing not good, you're doing really not good. So
Yeah, the Saints seem to do that. They always get in fights with their receivers. I don't know what's going on there.
My thing is they don't have a lot of options. So what are they doing?
You got Olave, Landry.
They have 2.
All right, I'm gonna jump in and I'll run off my tight ends. And then you can respond, David. That
But
cool?
Nicole made a good point. The trade deadline is this week, so if you want to make any trades, you better get on them.
That is true.
You
Most
won't be able
leagues.
to do that.
In one league I'm in, it was last week. So,
Oh man.
but yes, it is in most leagues. Standard leagues, it's this week.
Pringles, Anthony, Pringles.
Slim Jims.
I don't like
Anyway.
Pringles.
Tight ends. Cole Kmet. He's up there, right at 53% rostered, so right on the fringe. As long as he's healthy, I thought he got hurt there towards the end of the game. If he's healthy, I like Cole Kmet going forward. That offense is just going crazy right now for some reason, out of the blue. They're going to be down a lot because their defense sucks, so they should be throwing it, and it seems like Fields likes him. My next tight end, Juwan Johnson for the Saints. It appears he and Andy Dalton have a little bit of a connection. I like him as a streamer. Trey McBride for the Cardinals since Zach Ertz went down. He's a rookie.
Pain.
Temper expectations.
Pain.
Just somebody to look out for if you got Zach Ertz.
Pain. Zach Ertz had to be like my most consistent tight end this year. Maybe not the best, but like legit the most consistent, and it is so sad.
And then for the same reasons, Jack Stahl for the Eagles. Dallas Goedert seems to seems like he's going to miss a little bit of time with the shoulder injury, and Jack Stahl is the backup tight end there. And he apparently has played good when he's got the chances this year. The announcers were saying anyway. He usually catches the ball when thrown his way. The Eagles use their tight ends a lot, so he should see some volume with Goddard down. That's what I got for tight ends.
The only one you didn't say was Foster Moreau.
Yes, you're right.
Darren Waller's on IR. Foster's out there. He's only owning 31% of sleeper leagues. Their next 3 weeks are at Denver, at Seattle, at home against the Chargers. Seattle is terrible against tight ends. They're great. They have a great passing defense, but it's mostly on the outside. It's their corners They're terrible. They force everything to the middle of the field, and they give up big numbers to tight ends. Denver, that's a divisional game, and I can see him laying an egg this week against Denver. But I can also see them bouncing back a little bit after that absolute humiliation that Jeff Saturday dropped on them. So this week against Denver is kind of a toss-up, but I do like the matchups against Seattle and the Chargers.
I didn't know Darren Waller went on IR.
No, that's when you rage.
Yeah.
5 weeks later.
That's
Why
when
didn't
you
he
rage.
go on
Right
IR
after-
4 weeks ago?
That was the notification you got.
Oh, I thought it was just out. I just saw red and just dropped and then walked away.
Renfro and
That's why
Waller
I
went on
don't
IR,
draft tight end.
which was also why Mac Hollins did not make my wide receiver list because of Denver and Seattle. I can see Foster Moreau having a decent couple weeks, but I did not like Mac Hollins against the Denver and Seattle defenses. But yeah, poor Las Vegas.
Denver's good.
All right, that's about it for waivers. You got any waivers that we missed? Desperate players, anything like that, David? Ash?
No.
I'm going into another really
Yes,
bad
yes,
bye week.
Anthony. Yes. Komet was the dude that ran the temple in the second Indiana Jones movie. You are most astute. Most astute, Anthony. Yes.
Yep. All right, we'll
man.
play this real quick just to see if there's any there, but if not, it's my view. So if you got any questions, we never really get to it, play that because we usually have questions throughout the show, so I just wanted to play it. That was it.
Well, the only other thing that I wanted to throw out there was obviously this week we got Jacksonville, Miami, Seattle, and Tampa Bay all on bye week. If you own players from those teams, you already know that. Next week there will be no bye weeks. So really preparing for this week and getting through next week. The following week, Carolina and Arizona. Very few people are going to get hit by that bye week. Week 14. Do not wait until week 14 to plan for your bye weeks. We have another 16 bye. Granted, it's not going to be as bad as the last one, but we've got Atlanta, Chicago, Green Bay, Indy, who could be the number one offense in the league by then. I don't know. Jeff Saturday, he's the leader of men. And then New Orleans and Washington. But the really scary part about that week 14 bye is that the playoffs are going to be decided with that week. Do not wait. Plan ahead. Go look and see who you have on week 14 buys, and don't take a loss that late in the season when it could have been prevented had you been a little proactive now. So go out there and get them.
I like it.
I don't want to hear nothing about when we come on here next week about how you beat me in a league where I don't have anybody playing.
I'm just saying, I don't think you beat me. I don't think either of you beat me this year. In
I'm
any
pretty
leagues.
sure I have.
You can go back and look, though.
I will. I have Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Christian Kirk, Godwin, Geno Smith, Ezekiel Elliott's out. Khalil Herbert just went on IR.
So Nicole just asked a question. There are definitely two schools of thought to that, Nicole. Either to have that player's immediate backup, which is actually really important with running backs. We talk about handcuffs sometimes. The running back position is the one position wherein you can have their backup who could be a decent player who can just step in and fill that role. It's a little harder with wide receivers. And the other way to go about it would be to have a second player from a different team that you just keep on your bench in case something happens to the player you're starting. Both are highly recommended.
I would say Nicole too, especially with you in Dynasty now. Like Dynasty is the perfect place to have I have the Zeke Pollard. Like I have Zeke, who's like the guy, but then I have the younger backup and Pollard. So now that Zeke's been hurt, Pollard's been a perfect step in. I'm going to ignore Anthony because I'm actually trying to help Nicole. Anthony, and you're being very rude. Anyway, in Dynasty, I would suggest getting the handcuff for sure.
Yes. Anything to add to that,
They're
Sydney?
Sophie's chair.
That
Damn, so.
yeah, the only okay, so first of all, make sure you have the roster spots on your bench. If you need like a backup quarterback because of a bye week or another receiver because of a bye week, anything like that, don't sacrifice a roster spot to keep a backup running back. It's not bad to have a handcuff, but I would look at like who the starter is and go based off of their usual longevity or injury history.
I feel like in
Whether
Dynasty, you have so
how
many
high I prioritize having their
freaking
handcuff on my bench.
spots.
Here you go, Nicole. So this is actually a really great example. Between the two leagues we were talking about tonight, the Let's Talk Football League, I drafted Jalen Hurts. In the Jerry World League, I drafted Russell Wilson. In one league, I do not need a backup quarterback. Obviously, the risk of injury is great in this game. However, there is no quarterback out there that I'm ever going to start over Jalen Hurts. The only time I got a second quarterback was when Hurts was on a bye. In the other league, I am actually rostering two quarterbacks probably from now until the end of the year because I'm streaming them. Because I don't have a clear-cut number one. For the quarterback position, if you have a good one, I wouldn't waste the roster spot to keep someone on your bench in case the worst happens. But if it's a lesser player, then yeah, I would roster two and just roll with it, see who's producing, and don't be afraid to let somebody go. I'm stuck with Marcus Mariota and Danny Dimes.
Yeah. I would say there's one league I have like Trevor Lawrence and Geno Smith. Another league I have Dak Prescott and Joe Burrow, and I just refuse to drop them.
I thought those were my league-winning picks, to be honest. It was in the 6th round of both drafts. I took my quarterbacks in the 6th round, and I took Jalen Hurts in one, but I didn't want to put all my eggs in that one basket, and I was really torn. I was really torn between the two, and I was like, okay, over here, I'm going to go Jalen Hurts and Michael Pittman. And over here, I'm going to go Russ with the Cortland Sutton stack.
So, no, Nicole, I don't usually, unless I know the person. Like, I mean, a lot of leagues I'm in, or because I'm in so many, I don't talk to them directly. Sometimes most of the time, I just shoot a trade over, like just send the trade and wait to see what happens. David loves to do the low ball start and see how they do, see what they respond with to try and get to the actual trade he's okay making. So sending like lesser players than you want, and then seeing if they respond, even if they're interested. Andrew is another one that does that a lot.
Nicole, if Andrew tries to trade you, don't accept it. I don't care who he's giving you. I don't care who you're giving up. Don't do it.
He sends out feeler trades just to see if you'll even counter.
And he goes for your feels. Like he'll just throw a Saints player in there because he'll be like, oh, I know she likes the Saints. I'm gonna throw this person in there. Andrew is the devil when it comes to trading. Don't trade him.
But to answer your question, no, you don't have to ask. Go ahead, David.
100% of the time, Nicole, I never enter into a trade without trying to open a dialogue first with that person. I don't just like blindly send trade requests to people because you don't know what they want. They don't know what you want. You can look at their roster and be like, oh, that dude sucks, but they might really like that guy. You know, whatever. I always start the conversation in a private message and open the dialogue with, this is what I want.
He does do this.
And you have one of those.
He's never done that to me.
He did it to me, and I ignored him.
You have something I want. This is what I'm willing to offer if I have like these 4 players. All 4 of these guys are on the board. Like, what are you interested in? Just get them talking, and you will very quickly figure out whether or not you guys are going to be able to come to a trade, or if no, this is just not going to work, and then save your time.
Well, people just send me trades, and I'm like, nope, not that one. I'm not giving up that one. That's a big
And
no.
yes, I do. You always want to start a little light on your side because they might like the player that you're offering. And yes, you want to give up the least amount and get the most that you possibly can. So start there. But I always, every one of those trades where I kind of lowball a little bit at the beginning, I already have the second player that's a tier up that I'm willing to give. If they didn't like that first, okay, well, what if I went up to so-and-so? It improves your negotiating, your stance with the person as you go through it, if you can offer more as you go through. If you start at your highest bid and they don't, and then they want even more than that, then it's like, okay, this fell apart quickly. But if you start somewhere where you're comfortable and then you move closer to, I don't want to give this guy up, but I will if I have to, then you guys are more likely to come to a trade that works for both of you because both people are getting what they want. Unless you're my brother Dylan, in which case he thinks that Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Swift, Kenneth Walker, and Ramondre Stevenson are not worth Christian Cup. Don't worry, he's adopted, and we have doctors who are coming in to kind of work with him and maybe figure out what happened. But yeah.
Or you're just married to somebody and you say, hey, I want them.
What's that?
I said, or you're just married to people in the league and you're like, hey, will you give me that person? And it's like, okay.
Well, my thing in all my leagues, maybe kind of relevant to what Nicole's talking about, but in all these leagues, I was extremely deep at running back. And I needed wide receiver help. So in a lot of these, I was trying to trade up. So I'm trying to trade 2 to 3 players for 1 player. And every single trade offer I've sent out has been a 2 or 3 player for 1. If you're on the opposite, where you only have 1 or 2 good players and the rest of your roster is struggling, like Ash always says, if it's not working, move on. Try something different. You know, if you're that person who's, 3-7 and you have Cooper Kupp, you might want to look at moving Cooper Kupp. Get 2 or 3 good players that you can start.
You can't do that now, but.
Yeah. My bad.
Like Justin Jefferson or like AJ Brown.
Well, I'll be keeping a close eye on DeAndre Hopkins this next week.
Jalen Hurts, if you need him in a league, you should look at that.
No. I have him in a league.
Yeah, it's worth it for the sanity of being a Cowboys fan.
Ash, do you remember what I named my team in the Let's Talk Football League for the first 6 weeks?
Stupid.
Yeah. Well, Jalen's going to hurt us both by the end of the year.
My name in a league is Poverty Franchise. I was Fantasy Queen. I changed it to Fantasy Peasant because I suck.
I saw that. It made me so sad. Like, I literally was about to press the button. I went in and found a GIF. It was like the hugs, and I found like one puppy dog, like hugging the other puppy dog.
It's painful. I'm not doing good.
You guys got any bets for the week?
Nah, it's too early. It looks like it's going to snow a lot in Buffalo, so I'm thinking of under there for Buffalo, but that's about all I got right now.
I've got mine. I'm calling it the Twilight Zone parlay. All right.
Can't we do
So, and we got to talk about this for 1 second. The work pick'ems. Sydney, did you watch? Did you see what happened? I am in a work pool. We just pick winners, and at the end, everybody scores the Monday night game as the tiebreaker. I won this week. That's 5 wins in 8 weeks. I don't think they're going to let me play anymore. If the total score of the game was 49 and up, then I won outright. If it was 48, I tied with the person next. And if it was 47, then she won. Did everybody see the final play of that game last night?
Touchdown, put it over. Look at you.
The
Look
last
at you.
like, seconds.
Oh, I'd already conceded. I texted her. I was like, you're going to win. You're going to win. Good game, good game. I won again. Anyway, going into this week, it's the Twilight Zone parlay because in no parallel universe should Jeff Saturday be able to step into a head coaching job and beat the team that he was just talking trash about on social media. Like, they should have been mad enough just about that to go and win the game. And the other side of that will be Philly, because in no freaking parallel universe should Philly have lost that game last night. So the world is going to be righted this week. Philly, and I'm going to be taking a lot of overs for Jalen Hurts, for AJ Brown. I think Miles Sanders might have a good day, and I think Indy comes crashing back down to earth. So that's where I'm going this week. I like Philly over Indy.
I like it. I like it a lot. Shoot us over those, and we'll post them with ours.
Yeah.
And so you can, and then we'll talk about them on our show Sunday night for the Sunday night game. Tune in. We'll be on live during the halftime game.
Do I get to come hang out with you guys?
Dude, you're always invited.
You love.
Literally always.
Yeah.
I promise
We
I
have
won't sit
this
in front
set
of
up so we can like sit.
There's room for you. All right, we're out of here. It is way past our bedtime.
I'm so tired.
We appreciate you guys. We're on pretty long. That wraps up Tuesday nights for the Let's Talk Football League. Let's Talk Football group. Sorry. He's just gonna point to the Cowboys that took that massive.
Wait. The Steelers, do they play in the morning?
No, they're 1 p.m.
Do we play in the morning?
I have no idea.
I think we play in the afternoon.
Are you
Oh no.
sweating?
We're gonna play at the same time.
Steelers and the Cowboys.
Yep, we're both afternoon games,
Ugh, that's not good.
which I'm sad about because I'm not, my time frame. I got to leave your place. I may be stuck.
Yep. Then you might as well stay for the night show. So
No.
it only makes sense. It's all
All
right.
right.
The Steelers and the Cowboys don't win.
Yay!
Week. So the Steelers winning in the morning. That's why we lost in the afternoon, because the Steelers won in the morning. So I was hoping we would play in the morning and you would play in the afternoon. We could just win, and then you could do whatever you do. But
Yeah, but the thing is, the Steelers won this week. Cowboys lost. Peace.
Stop.